All right, so I'm just going to do a kind of glimpse into development and what that looks like for creating a scene as far as the writing process, working with the Electra tools that I've got set up in the Unity project. And this should be somewhat similar to what I would suggest for other people looking to write for the game or when the marketplace becomes available, write your own conversations and sell them as mod packs for people that would get loaded into the game. So let's go ahead and jump into Unity. Great. So you can just kind of see I've got some custom editors going on in Unity here, and they're just kind of help me organize thoughts. So this scene comes pretty far into the first kind of section of the game. It says chapter 6 at the top. Basically, what has happened is you've been in the Spirit World faction for about a week of in-game time. And during that time, you have broken a big territory rule. So you've killed some enemy monsters on another faction's territory, which is a big deal because farm is limited and experience gain is really life or death for these different factions. So it's come down to sort of a duel that is being arranged. And in order to participate in the duel, you have to create essentially a familiar stone golem that allows you to compete in a certain sort of a duel environment. So you've collected all the materials. That's going very well. But right before it's time to forge, you kind of bring in some stone, some spirit crystal, and some monster kind of component elements. You bring all of those together, you put them on top of a bunch of fires, sort of like forging steel, but for a stone golem familiar. And right before it's time to enchant it and bring it to its final form, it's realized that you're very near kind of the next level. Your XP bar is pretty close to the next level, and you would get a significant advantage in your summon. And this is a long-term kind of pet familiar that you have, if you can get to the next level before you finish the summoning. So anyways, you kind of, log off from the spirit world. You're back in the real world, and, the one of the characters that's staying with you and using your apartment as a hideout has noticed that you have a ticket to the homecoming dance at your school. Now, you didn't purchase this. It's actually a pretty direct, sneaky trick by your best friend at school. He's determined that both of you should have dates to the homecoming dance. It's your senior year, and he's committed himself to turning things around. You and your friend are kind of at the bottom tier of social standing, and so he bought two tickets, one for himself, one for you, not to go together, but to both find dates to go to homecoming. And he's hoping that some of the guilt of a ticket gone to waste will help motivate you to find a date. You've kind of dismissed it up till now. You have bigger things in your mind, like all of the craziness that's going on in the spirit world. But just now, after seeing that you are really should be doing a little bit more leveling before you summon your monster, and that leveling is heavily dependent on your progression in the elements that are in the modern world. Um, Now Eve has come across this homecoming ticket. Uh, that it's a homecoming ticket for the dance. And maybe this character's reaction is kind of like, "Oh, what? You're going to the dance?" Uh, to any dance, and partially there's kind of a tension between these characters potentially during the game, at least from Eve is the name of this character, um, that goes across a lot of the game, regardless of how the player feels. The player can pursue her or not. But that's separate from this conversation, but it makes it a little bit more interesting. So she's just essentially being dismissive of that, and you're like, I'm not going. My friend bought it for me. I need to go. Hmm. All right. So yeah, so this is just kind of her reacting and kind of thinking it over. And so it's kind of only on the fringe of everyone's awareness how big of a factor for the player and their experience game the romance elements in the modern world. This is something that's personalized to every single person in this world. What gives them advantages, boosts their XP gain, and stuff like that in the spirit world. And so people are aware that there seems to be some connection with the player and building relationships that grows their experience rate. And so this is Eve coming to that conclusion. So something the player might say, you need to go. Uh, this could be huge for you. Next level. Really don't stand a chance in the duel if your golem have I'll come up with better terminology here, but essentially at at a higher level than the passive that your monster has, you get an extra passive buff or something like that. Uh, so you think boost my XP gain? Make that capitalized. All right. So yeah. So this is them kind of entering into this strategic decision making, and so now Eve is like, you know, I think asking someone to dance a significant relationship development. And maybe at some point previous to this conversation, the way it's been described so far is that relationship development has a huge impact on your XP gain, has been observed kind of indirectly or by accident happening. So, player, you're kind of accepting it. Um, ask them to dance. Yeah. Time is of the essence. do it now just to be safe and get the bonus before as soon as possible. Okay. Right. You. So maybe one option here would be to ask Eve to the dance. Now, you may or may not know that she can't go to the dance. She's in hiding, so she's not actively going to school. Um, she's in hiding from a secret organization, unlike the player who is kind of hidden in plain sight at this point. Maybe still count. So she's maybe like testing the system here, and she's saying that, and then she maybe like grabs your wrist or something like that. She can sense your uh, kind of spiritual nature. That's how she tracked down the player in the first place, is some of her abilities in that way. Nope. It has to be real, and maybe as the player, you can be a little exasperated. Didn't mean it. Maybe if you're really pushing the envelope, you say, right, you can't go. But if you could, and Eve maybe has no patience for this hypothetical line of logic where you're trying to suss out whether Eve is attracted to you as a player. And so she's just like, I can't. Pull out your phone. Isn't anyone I can ask? And what about that nerd girl on the subway? Poppy? And maybe the player is okay with this idea. Okay, maybe I could ask her. You're thinking about it. Um, I could ask her to go as friends. Yeah. Um, I'm sure that would be a big XP boost. Friends. Oh, gonna ask her all the way or not at all. Not at all. I choose not at all. Call her now. This is a fun sequence. Okay, and then maybe the next scene would be you calling her. I think I do want to give the player an actual choice here, so I would expand this to be something like, um, do you want to call, ask her or somewhere else? And then one of the options could be like, I'll ask them in person at school tomorrow, would be one of the options, or like on the subway. So that would be an option. But I think the correct way to proceed with this tool, with this system, is to really do, it's like, is to really do all of it um, in like a linear fashion and then extend off of it, because you'll get the richest kind of singular train of storytelling, dialogue, conversation exchange with this simple tab, and then you move into the deep. So at this point, I think this is enough where we can switch to deep mode. So if I just type in this first column, we'll jump back up to the top. What's this? This is just her introducing the conversation, so the rating doesn't matter so much. And this is you kind of playing dumb a little bit. So maybe yeah, maybe naive because you're not sure what you're getting into. And then this is you being dumb again. Uh, Bland, I think, fits that pretty well. You can see the emotion popping out here, and I'm just trying to find something that describes the way that these are being expressed. Okay, so um, yeah, probably a 4 out of 10 matches her level of response here. I'm not going. My friend bought it for me to try to go. Okay, so you're just trying to spell it out for her here. I think factual is good. Yeah, she's thinking. And let's grab the mood source. So that this is her reacting to this. So you'll notice that, like, so for example, if we added a different way to express, um, I'm not gonna. Might be more of a sassy way to say it. So you can see that changing here. Her reaction is in large part formed by what the way you say it. So if you're being cheeky, then she's, having a little bit more of a reaction to that. And if you're being more factual, then she's considering it, phrasing it in a little bit more of that emotion type. So let's do the same thing here. Oops. What did I do? Looks like it broke down. I must have typed like a 44 instead of what it should have been. It should be this one. Where's the source chunk? All right, let's see if it'll let me go back into normal. No, well, let's see. What are the errors that I'm getting? All right, looks like I'm gonna have to more GUI clips than I'm popping. Looks like I'm gonna have to troubleshoot that one, but This is a development version, but we'll get back on track soon, and I'll continue figuring out how to react to being pressured into going to a homecoming dance for the good of the Magic faction you belong to. All right, I'll tune in again soon. Have a good one.